Suma madam?
Yes, we should be starting, Veena.
Okay, madam.
Veena, start ಮಾಡೋಣ.
ವೀರೇಶ್ ಸರ್ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು. Okay, sir, we'll start. A very warm good morning to one and all present in today's virtual faculty development program. Today, we have successfully stepped into the third day of the 7-day long International Faculty Development Program on Contemporary Research Methodology in Humanities, which is organized by the Humanities Forum of Government First Grade College, Vijayanagar, Bengaluru. Today's program is presented by the Department of Economics, GFGC, Vijayanagar. I am Srimati Veena GS, Assistant Professor of Economics, who will be the host for today's event. From recent years in higher education, enriching the faculty vitality in key domains of teaching, assessing, research, professionalism, ethics, and administration is perceived to improve educational environment significantly and in also enhancing the academic performance of the learners. Faculty Development Program has been considered as a stand-alone educational pedagogy in fostering knowledge and professional skills of the faculties. Hence, our college has been organizing FDPs regularly under various forums on various topics. This year, Humanities Forum has rightly chosen the thrust area of FDP to be contemporary research methodologies. In order to attain a competitive edge, the field of research needs to focus on linking classroom teaching with contemporary global developments. While understanding the methodology and tools of research, it is equally interesting to explore what we need to research upon, giving their significance to economy, society, and policies. As you all know, the recent outbreak of COVID-19 has impacted nations all over the world in an enormous way. Especially the nationwide lockdowns have brought social and economic life to a standstill. There is a multi-sectoral impact of the virus as the economic activities have slowed down. Post-pandemic economic recovery seems to be a contemporary challenge and an Herculean task, especially for countries like India. So today, our resource person will be throwing light on this issue. We have with us today Mr. Naikara Veeresha, a research scholar at Institute of Social and Economic Change, who will be speaking to us on the topic Forecasting Economic Recovery During Post-COVID-19 Pandemic, a note on methodology. Welcome to you, sir. Now I request my dear colleague, Dr. Mangala, to deliver the welcome address and also introduce our resource person to the gathering. Over to you, Dr. Mangala.
Thank you, madam. Good morning, one and all. The social sciences offer equal promise for improving human welfare. Our lives can be greatly improved through a deeper understanding of individual and collective behavior, which is the gist of economic study also. But to realize this promise, the social sciences, like the other sciences, need to match their institutional structures to today's intellectual challenges. In this context, we, Humanities Forum, GFGC Vijayanagara, Bengaluru, organizing 7 days International FDP on contemporary research methodologies in humanities. I'm Dr. Mangalati, Assistant Professor in Economics. We are in the third day of this journey, and it's a great pleasure for me to welcome you all to this FDP program. With immense pleasure, I would like to welcome today's resource person, Shri Naikara Veeresha, Doctoral Fellow, Center for Political Institutions, Governance and Development, Institute for Social and Economic Change, Bengaluru. A warm welcome to you, sir. I welcome our beloved principal, sir, Dr. Chandrasekhar Rabi, Chief Patron of this FDP program, whose constant motivation makes us to lead with many such programs. We welcome him in his absence. Welcome you, sir. I extend a warm welcome to Dr. Shubha Madam, IQSC coordinator of our college and head of the Department of Botany. We welcome you, Madam. I would like to welcome Professor Shailaja MG Madam, head of the Department of Economics and convener of Humanities Forum. I welcome you, Madam. I extend a warm welcome to the organizing secretaries of this FDP program, Dr. Shamala B. Madam, PG Coordinator, Department of Economics, and Professor Hemalata Madam, Department of English. Hearty welcome to you both, Madam. I extend a warm and hearty welcome to all the delegates from across the world to this 7 days international FDP program. With great pleasure, I welcome Dr. Suma Madam, Associate Professor, Department of Kannada, with the constant support and motivation of her made us to take all such programs. A warm welcome to you, Madam. A wholehearted welcome to all the conveners of this FDP program coordinators, technical committee members, and organizing committee members of this program. I welcome you all. I also extend a heartfelt welcome to teaching and non-teaching staff of our college. Thank you, one and all. Now, I would like to introduce our today's resource person for this present session. Dear participants, we are proud to have an eminent scholar, Sri Naikara Veeresha, today speaking about forecasting economic recovery during post-COVID-19 pandemic, a note on methodology. To introduce Sir, I would say Sir stood first rank in the order of merit in the master program at Rajiv Gandhi National Institute of Youth Development, Sri Perambaduru. Sir is a recipient of prestigious Professor V.K. R.V. Rao Fellowship from Institute for Social and Economic Change, Bengaluru. His area of research is Anthropolitics of Insurrection and Governance in Central India, a case study of Chhattisgarh state. Sir has won many prizes to his credit in his school days as well as in his college days. Sir has many documents of publication in his credits. Two major such relevant policy documents are Political Participation of Muslims and the Problem of Inclusive Democracy in the Occasion paper series, Center for the Study of Social Exclusion and Inclusive Policy, National Law School of India University, Bangalore. Sir has also co-authored the State Action Plan on Sustainable Development Goal 12, Sustainable Consumption and Production Patterns for the Department of Planning, Program Monitoring and Statistics, Government of Karnataka. Sir has published 8 research papers in peer-reviewed journals, 5 research papers in non-refereed journals, and he has also presented various research papers in national and international conferences. Sir has also have 7 research papers in various edited books, and he has contributed for many online publications also. He is the regular writer for the various registered newspapers. His articles are regularly publishing in Deccan Herald, The Hindu, Telangana Today, The New Indian Express, and Hans India, etc. With this brief introduction, I welcome our today's resource person to take over the session now. Over to you, sir. Thank you, one and all.
Oh, Veena ma'am.
Yeah, tell me. Hello.
Sir, join again. Please ask Sir to join.
Veeresh sir. Hello, sir. Are you able to hear me? Hello. Viresh sir. Hello.
ಶ್ಯಾಮಲಾ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸರಿ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Sir, are you able to hear me, sir? Please unplug your earphones and do it again. We are not able to hear you.
Ma'am, sir can speak even without earphones also, no? If there is some problem in earphones, let him speak without earphones.
So just try without your earphones once.
Shamla ma'am. Shamla ma'am.
Tell me, Mangla.
Give a call to sir and ask what's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's there.
He's come.
Not able to hear you, sir.
So please unmute yourself.
He has unmuted, but not able to hear.
Hello?
He's on unmute only.
Hello?
Hello? Hello? So not able to hear you.
Sir, can you hear us? We can't hear you, sir.
Devika madam? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it advisable for him to leave the
Ma'am,
meeting and rejoin?
ಆಕ್ಚುಲಿ ರೀಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಲೋ ಇದೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಒಂದ್ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅವರಿಗೆ.
ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಾ ಓಕೆ ಸರ್. ಒಂದ್ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್, ಲಾಗ್ಔಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗಿ ರೀಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿ. ಓಕೆ. ಸರಿ ಸರ್.
ವೀಣಾ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
ಹಲೋ, ಯಾ
ಮ್ಯಾಮ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಲೋ ಇದೆ. ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇರೋ ಜಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದ್ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೋಗಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇದಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ.
ದೇವಿಕಾ he said he will send ಇದು PPT ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರಂತೆ ವೀಣಾ ಅವರು.
ಓಕೆ ಮ್ಯಾಮ್.
PPT ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರಂತೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಅವರು he will join through mobile ಅಂತೆ. He has some problem with the laptop ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. He will join through mobile ಅಂತೆ. So I asked him to ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ವಾಪಸ್ ಸೇರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದೀನಿ. I asked him to rejoin. ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮಂಗ್ಲಾ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Yes, ma'am. One second.
One welcome ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಡು.
Yes, ma'am. Dear delegates, now we have our beloved principal, Sir Dr. Chandrasekhara B. with us, who is the chief patron of this FDP program. And with his constant motivation and support, we could able to conduct such many programs. With all our humanities forum and organizing committee, we welcome you to this program, sir.
Thank you, Mangla.
Veena, now Veeresh sir has come and he's a co-host.
Okay.
Try to call him.
He's not picking the call.
ಮೇಡಮ್ ಅವ್ರ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಇಂದ ಲಾಗಿನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬೇಡ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ. ಕೋ ಹೋಸ್ಟ್ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಮಾತಾಡಬಹುದು.
ಓಕೆ. ಅವ್ರದ್ದು PPT
ಅದೇ ಇದು ಯಾವ ಮೇಲ್ ಕಳಿಸ್ತಾರೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ.
ಅಥವಾ ವಾಟ್ಸ್ಆಪ್ಗೆ ಕಳ್ಸಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳಿ ಮೇಡಮ್, ಬೇಗ ಡೌನ್ಲೋಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದಲ್ಲ.
Veeresh sir has joined, but his audio is not connected.
Maybe it's due to his poor network connection, ma'am.
It was fine before the starting of the program.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sir, welcome back. Veeresh sir, can you hear me now? Veeresh sir?
Mangla, Veena?
Yes, ma'am.
ವೀರೇಶ್ ಅವರು ಜಾಯಿನ್ ಆಗೋ ತನಕ ಪ್ರಿನ್ಸಿಪಲ್ಗೆ ಒಂದ್ 4 ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ ಹೇಳಿ. ಅಷ್ಟರಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಅಡ್ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ.
Sure, ma'am. Sir?
Dear delegates, we regret for the inconvenience caused due to the technical issues from the resource person end. We are fortunate to have our principal today who has joined us now to today's FDP program. On behalf of the organizing committee, sir, I request you to address the gathering. Over to you, sir. Please unmute yourself.
Hello. Good morning.
Yes, sir.
And my respected colleagues and dear delegates. Now we have been conducting programs like this, many more programs like this since so many months. I think this is the last FDP during this pandemic situation we have planned, and we are organizing. The very purpose behind it is, you know that very well, it is very difficult to, in this situation, to meet together, to conduct offline program. But in a way, I see that in all perspective, even from the fiscal perspective and all other convenience, I feel this, the hosting and conducting online program is more convenient and better and economically viable to everyone, one of us, so that we could able to conduct so many programs. And see this, during this particular situation, the teaching job is a very, very challenging and noble job. Especially for teachers, we have to always equip ourselves, keep motivated, and we could able to handle different types of students. As I said, I mentioned in the beginning itself, the very purpose of FDP is to empower our teachers to be more student friendly and more technology friendly, because tech savvy is very, very important today. We all forced to invariably depend on technology, even for all our curriculum activities, especially to teach students to conduct test, examination, And in our college, we are all resort to this, where and most all other colleges also, even the universities, to conduct tests also, we have to depend only on the online program, online platform. So with that, definitely where we can keep updating ourselves, and it help us to be more confident, to understand new pedagogy in teaching, and also two methodologies and new the concepts in different areas, especially in the humanities, as I mentioned very clearly earlier, and where somewhere we are failing in attracting the students in large number. If I just remember my college days when I was a student in Kalpataru College, Tiptur, there were 9 arts sections. There was only one BCom section. But today the trend and scenario is entirely opposite. We have 7, 8 BCom sections and only 1 or 2 art sections. So why it is happening? And all of us should think in different in right directions, and we have to motivate. And I feel strongly, many a times I regret myself why I didn't study arts. Though basically I am a commerce man, because I one example I'll just quote. When I appeared for the competitive examination, I have scored good marks in art subject rather than in my own commerce subjects. So this is an advantage of arts, where many students can face competitive examination easily, and they study history and political science, the constitution, and so many other things in different aspects. So this is what is very, very important for every one of us to understand the significance and importance of humanities subjects in this direction. We teachers should motivate our students. What are the benefits and advantages? What are the scopes which are available? And more so, I strongly feel that the people who are in the helm of affairs, particularly at the university level, the BOS level, and chairman, dean of the faculty, etc. So they also should think in this direction, to see that where a combination should be changed, because the commerce is so popular. One of the simple reason that we always introduce a contemporary issues, contemporary aspects, and in this particular situation where the students are prepared to understand the practicalities in different field. For example, we teach our students GST, we teach our students the corporate taxation, and then we teach the human resource management, the marketing management, the brand building exercises, branding, corporate accounting, the corporate administration, so on and so forth. These are all contemporary nature. What I feel that even in the art stream, even in the humanities stream, we have to include and modify the syllabus, and syllabi which is definitely going to help the students to get jobs in the employment market. So this is also one of the suggestion, and many a times in many platform, even I discussed when I happened to meet some persons and some people who are at the helm of affairs. And this is what the common suggestions we receive even from the students and the parents. So we should also think in this direction, so that definitely we can attract more students towards humanities. Of course, in our college, there is no dearth for students. We have very good demand even for arts also. But in many colleges, as I have observed, there are no students, sufficient number of students for arts stream, humanities. So this is my humble request to all of you, and you can also put forward this idea before the universities to modify the syllabus and incorporate some contemporary issues. So to do all these kind of FDP programs definitely helps you, empower you, gives you some idea, and which we get from different resource persons and different versatile. They have deep experience, depth experience in that particular field, so that whatever input we take from them, we should pass on the same inputs. We should see that our course also should have a great demand, and students who pursue these courses should be assured of jobs even in the corporate world. So then, because today the government jobs are very, very minimum, all of us should understand the reality. Another thing I focused and I strongly believe in that our students not only should be restricted to only the syllabi and the university curriculum as such, and we should think beyond box, beyond the boundary. What I means to say is, we should see that all our students should have a strong soft skills. So this is what is very much required. irrespective of the degree they pursue, whether they are BCom or BA or BSc or BBA, whatever it is, or even MCom, MEA or MSc, MBA. What is important here is they should have a very, very strong soft skills. So these skills could be a good, strong communication skill. This is very vital today, because when we have to communicate things, whatever ideas we have, we should be able to communicate to the concerned people in a very, very brief and also in an understandable manner. That's one important strong, the soft skills is required: communication skill, the interpersonal skill, the stress management skill, time management skill, decision making skill. So all these skills and interview skills, and many a times, as I observed, even I have faced and I experienced in our own college. In the last year, we arranged a very mega job mela where we have invited over 120 companies to the college, and all 120 reputed companies came to our college, and we invited students from 6 districts in and around Bangalore surrounding districts. So 4,000 plus students from different government colleges, and many of the private college students also came here. I have noticed one thing, that many a times our students are not able to write the resume. So it is the duty of all of us being teachers. We should train many a times I see here, if you ask them to write a letter to the registrar, addressed to the registrar evaluation, Bangalore University, Bangalore, or concerned university, through the principal, Government First State College, Vijayanagar, Bangalore, and mentioning the subject and body of the letter clearly. So many a times students, they don't know how to write this letter. These are all simple things. We can't say that it is not our job. Of course, it is not there in the syllabus, and it is not there prescribed in the syllabus. And just because it is not there in the syllabus, we can't say it is not my job. It is our job. So our job, being teachers, continue to be there till our students get employed. Not just completing the syllabus, not just conducting examination, completing evaluation, and once the result is being announced, and when students go out of the college, we can't say our responsibility is over. And I strongly firmly believe that our responsibility continue to be there till our students get employment. Our students stand in his or on our feet. Till then, our responsibility continues. So when all of us think in this direction, definitely I'll see that today there is plenty of opportunities. There is no dearth for employment as such. But in this particular aspect, where all of us should think and introspect ourselves, are we really discharging our duties properly? What are the lacunas? I am not telling that we are not doing it. We are all doing it. But we should do it in more professional way, in a little more perfect way, so that definitely in turn our students will be benefited, and they'll definitely confidently walk out of the college. Many a times I am the person believe in, really speaking, whatever taught in schools and colleges is not an education. Then what is education? Life is an education. So this is what I understood. This is what feedback even I get from our students. So when they enter the real world, they understand what is life, what is education, what is required, what is not required. That is what where in our college, to understanding this reality, we have entered into many MOUs with various companies. We have tie-up with Cognizant company, we have tie-up with Tech Mahindra, we have tie-up with Rotary, and through Rotary, we rope in various corporate companies to come in and train our students at free of cost. We are not paying them any allowance or not even a conveyance allowance we are paying them. So there are many corporate companies have come up and to train our students at free of cost. Only thing that we have to do is we have to assign a particular job to a person, a particular teacher, and you should fix the responsibility to make a batch of students, and you enable them to attend the class when the time is scheduled. So like this, we have training there. I think we have 5-6 batches are already being trained, even during this pandemic situation. Last year, we conducted about 12-15 batches we completed. But this year, even in this particular situation, we have successfully completed 6 batches of training and 6 batches of students. 6 batches means almost 300 of our students are being trained in all these areas. To be frank with you, I'll tell you one thing, that because of when we take all this initiative, I should say kudos to all my colleagues, because whatever idea I just put forward, they never say no. And they definitely come forward. They accept these challenges and they say, let us do it. We can do it. We can do it like this. If people are not ready to work extra hours, extra things, and as principal, I can't do anything. It is highly impossible. And I should always compliment and my colleagues, and all this credit goes to my esteemed colleagues. They're really doing wonderfully well. And because of their support and their energy, and we are able to conduct so many programs like this. So for instance, if I want to tell you this one thing, and this is the 5th FDP program, 2 international level FDP we have conducted and 3 national level FDPs conducted. I don't think any government college in the country conducted so many FDP programs. Not only FDP, over 50 webinars we have conducted, more than 50. I'm talking about from past 1 year. So from different disciplines, from different departments. So this is all because of the enthusiasm of my colleagues, and whatever idea we just sit together and discuss, and they definitely carry out all these ideas. This is what is required. All of us should think in this direction, and we should see that our students should be trained and prepared. Not only the marks today in the corporate world, I'll tell you, I'm frankly telling you that nobody look at the marks card. It is the reality. Nobody look at the marks card. They look at the skills, whether he or she is going to be an asset to the organization or not. So in this direction, we should see that all our students should be equipped with skills, job skills, required skills. And that's what where we should have a tie-up with corporate. At least each college should have a tie-up with 2-3 companies. Through that, definitely we can just help our students in training different skills and different areas. And through that, we can empower our students. Maybe an entrepreneurial skill is very important. That also we can just impart to our ಇವರು ಸುಮಾ ಅವರು ಕಾಲ್
It's unmuted. Sir, mute agide. So please unmute yourself.
Yes, tell me. I think Suma called me. I think I want to stop, right?
No, suddenly it got unmuted, sir. Now it's okay.
ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಅವ್ರದ್ದು ಸರಿ ಹೋಯ್ತು ಸರ್.
ಸರಿ ಹೋಯ್ತು. I think
ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ರೆಡಿ ಆಗಿದಾರಂತೆ.
ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ has come.
ಹೌದು. ಸಾರಿ I had to cut you, sir.
Hello, madam, shall I stop?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm sorry also.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Over to the today's resource person, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share few of my thoughts in this occasion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring and thoughtful words. Your constant support, encouragement, your guidance, your confidence in us will give us more strength to work more and more. We are very fortunate to work under your guidance, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Good. Thank you.
And dear participants, once again, I'm sorry on behalf of the organizing committee for the technical inconvenience caused, which is very unpredictable. Now we'll move forward to the technical session, and I invite our resource person of today's event, Mr. Naikara Veeresh, to take over the forum. Sir? Yes, sir. Welcome you back.
Am I audible, madam?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Thank you, madam. First of all, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to principal sir and other faculty members to share some of the this is one of my ongoing paper where I am trying to explore what are the different forecasts for the economic recovery during the post COVID-19 pandemic, even though we are yet in the pandemic, fighting with the pandemic. But however, my presentation will be focusing upon the methodological aspects of the economic forecasts and the predictions of growth, how the growth recovery will takes place in the post COVID-19 period. Next slide, madam. Next slide, please. Yeah, thank you, madam. So before I laid out certain objectives of my presentation, but before madam, please stay on the objectives slide. Before I go to the objectives, let me introduce the topic. We all know that we are fighting the COVID-19 pandemic across the globe and in our country. And the COVID-19 pandemic has stagnated most of the economic activities and our lives. This stagnation in the economic activities has impacted immensely on the global economy and the national economy. In this scenario, it is necessary to understand what will be the recovery pattern of the economies across the globe and particularly in India. With this introduction, I would like to focus upon my presentation on the following objectives. The first objective examines the methodological rigor of the economic recovery pattern or projection made by the Global Economic Prospectus, a report published by the World Bank, and also Economic Survey of India has projected the recovery pattern will be V-shaped. The Economic Survey has forecasted our recovery pattern will be in the V-shaped curve. And also, after examining the methodological rigor of these projections, I would like to identify certain methodological issues in these forecasts of the growth recovery. After identifying the methodological issues, I would like to do a critical analysis of what will be the theoretical and empirical implications of these forecasts on the growth pattern. And finally, after examining the methodological issues and its theoretical and empirical implications, I would like to draw your attention to certain policy recommendations so that the growth recovery will be stable and sustainable. Next slide, please. May I have next slide, madam? Yeah. So this is the context. The context, we all know that the global pandemic has affected the economic activities in a large scale. The Global Economic Prospectus, a report published by World Bank, has provided a comprehensive analysis of the economic growth patterns during the post-COVID-19 pandemic period. And the report has given 4 different scenarios for the countries classified as advanced economies, emerging and developed economies broadly. The 4 different scenarios are the baseline scenario, the first one, and the second one is downside scenario. Third one is severe downside, and the final one is upside scenario. These 4 different scenarios are the growth recovery patterns as brought out by the Global Economic Prospectus report. The 4 different scenarios of the economic growth recovery pattern is based upon certain economic indicators such as the extent of COVID-19 case loads and the extent of vaccination program in the country, and the safety measures such as social distancing measures by the households and the individuals, and the effectiveness of pandemic control policies of the governments, like providing timely hospitalization and other medical care, and financial market stress. These are the certain indicators on which these four scenarios of recovery pattern has been forecasted. Next slide, please. So as I spelled out in my previous slide, that the four different scenarios, if we see, the baseline scenario explains that the economy will be bouncing back strongly after the offset of the pandemic. And when it comes to the downside scenario, which includes severe downside scenario, where the recovery may not be stable and sustainable because the recovery could falter once the policy support is withdrawn and the demand is exhausted. And this pattern is known as faltering recovery, where the recovery is not stable and not sustainable in nature. And the final scenario is upside scenario, where the recovery of economy is more robust and a broad based than expected ones. Here, the economic recovery pattern is a sustainable and a stable one. Therefore, it is known as sustained expansion of the economy. So these are the four different scenarios of the economic recovery pattern. Next slide, please. Madam, next slide, please. Yeah. So if we see this, no, previous one, madam. Yes, madam. Thank you. So if we see the historical recoveries across the global economy after the recession, if we see the time scale here, it has been taken from the last 70 to 80 years in the range. If we see the recovery pattern here, the 2020 recovery pattern is almost similar to that of 1945 to 46 period, which means the global economy will recover. The pattern is similar to that of 80 years back of recovery. Next slide, please. So if we see this recovery pattern, how it happens means the contributions to this global recovery pattern. If we see 2021 and 22, the shaded area indicates the projections made by the World Bank for the entire globe. However, here if we see the contributions of advanced economies such as United States and United advanced economies excluding United States of America, and then contribution by the China and emerging and developing economies excluding China, and then we will see for the entire world. If we see in 2021, where we are now in, the report predicted 5.6% of GDP growth across the world. And if we see the growth will slightly come down once we cross 2021 and enter into 2022. Next slide, please. So that has been the recovery pattern across the globe, then I would like to um, draw your attention to the South Asian region. If we see, there are two different scenarios: South South Asian region as a whole and South Asian region excluding India. The red line indicates the average GDP growth for South Asia region as a whole. If we exclude India from this regional pattern, the GDP growth will slightly come down and it will stand as below average. If we combine India, the GDP growth stands at 6.1. So this is the regional pattern. We have seen the global pattern and now we are seeing the regional pattern, and where the South Asian regional economic recovery, if we exclude India, it stands below average. If we include India, it attains the average GDP growth in the region. Next slide, please. So, what are the factors that are affecting or that are contributing this forecast of GDP growth? Mainly, the report has analyzed different factors, namely global financing conditions and the GDP to debt ratio and the purchasing capacity of the individuals and the inequality pattern and so on so forth. However, the major determinant which is contributing to the recovery pattern is the major indicator is the global financing conditions. If we see, compare the financing conditions are lesser to India than at the global scale. Next slide, please. So, why the global financing conditions for India as per this report is lesser than the global scale? The report comprehensively analyzed certain determinants. One among such determinants is the uncertainty in the growth pattern, and this uncertainty is linked to the policy uncertainty of the economic and monetary policies. If we see 2021, the relationship between the two variables, that is policy and the growth output, if the policy uncertainty, the percentage is high, the growth output also, the uncertainty of growth output remains high. Next slide, please. So among the policy uncertainties, one of the aspect which I have taken for this particular analysis is the Economic Survey of India 2021 has projected the economic recovery pattern as a V-shaped economic recovery. In this backdrop, the report has cautioned all the economists of the world by saying that unless there are substantial and effective reforms, the global economy is heading for a decade of disappointing growth outcomes, as the pandemic is expected to leave long-lasting adverse effects on global economic activity and per capita incomes of the individual households. It also highlighted that with respect to South Asia region, the pandemic has had a devastating impact on South Asia, leading to an estimated 6.7% output contraction in 2020. However, it also noted that overall, the South Asia region has less total cases on a per capita basis than compared to other emerging market and developing economies and advanced economies. Next slide, please. Madam, next slide, please. Yeah. So, this report of World Bank, Madam, previous slide, please. Yeah. So, since this is the forum, we are discussing upon the methodological aspects of the social science research. So, what I would like to do in the next few minutes is what kind of methodology has been adopted by this particular report to forecast the economic recovery pattern in the post-COVID-19 period. The methodology is based upon large-scale global semi-structural projection model, and the 4 different recovery scenarios, which I spelled out few minutes back, were constructed using developed by Oxford Economics, Department of Oxford Economics, which includes 81 individual blocks of 35 advanced economies and 46 emerging middle and developing economies, most of which are available at a frequency rate of quarterly basis with the behavioral equations which governs the domestic economic activity and the monetary and fiscal policy and the global trade and the commodity prices. So this is the methodology adopted to forecast how the economy will be, economy across the globe and region wise will be recovering during the post-COVID-19 pandemic. Next slide, please. So, the Economic Survey of India 2021 has stated that since March, April 2020, that is exactly in which our country has put down in lockdown period, states that several high frequency indicators have demonstrated a V-shaped recovery. The survey also mentions that this V-shaped recovery can be traced on the basis of the performance of the certain high frequency indicators. In total, 16 high frequency indicators are taken into account in order to predict the recovery is in V shape. And such as the high frequency indicators, such as the power demand and e-way bills, goods and services tax collection, and the steel consumption. Next slide, please. So, in this backdrop of global and national conflict, to what extent these forecasts or this prediction of V-shaped economic recovery stands out when we apply in the context of economic theories. The basic idea behind the V-shaped recession followed by a quick revival of growth. This is the basic idea behind the V-shaped recovery pattern. And this assumption, this idea is based upon the Milton Friedman's plucking model of business fluctuations. The correlation between the growth rates in the two consecutive phases of economic activities depends upon whether the recession is for expansion and subsequent recession, which means the economic activity expand and then subsequently after the recession onset, or recession and subsequent expansion. Here, the V-shaped economic recovery pattern of our country is based upon these fundamental assumptions of the Friedman's plucking model of business fluctuations. This model was developed to understand the business cycles in two consecutive quarters and provides the relationship between the successive phases of two business cycles. Next slide, please. So let us see to what extent the theoretical assumptions of Friedman's plucking model applies to Indian economy. According to this model, the strength of economic recovery is related to the severity of the recession, and it says that after reaching a more mature phase, the economy will become uncorrelated with the severity of the preceding recession. To contextualize this assumption to the COVID-19 pandemic situation, I have asked two research questions: whether the growth recovery and its pattern, that is V-shaped recovery pattern, are related systematically to the succeeding redemption pattern. How does it capture the extent of correlationship between the economic variables and the growth output? Here, how does it capture, which means whether this projection of V-shaped recovery, does it sufficiently capture the correlationship between the selected 16 high frequency economic indicators and the growth output? So these are the two research questions upon which I have done the analysis part. Next slide, please. So to and to apply the Friedman's plucking model economic assumptions to the V-shaped recovery pattern, if we see the economic survey of India has stated that the V-shaped economic recovery so in the first quarter we were affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. So if we compare quarter 2 growth recovery pattern with the quarter 1, that is first quarter, the region is not correlated with the selected high frequency indicators. And if we compare second quarter revival pattern with that of third quarter, then we can find a correlation between these two successive periods. However, if we compare, since here the determinant factor is COVID-19 pandemic and its offset with the health and medical policies, the determinant factor here is the COVID-19 pandemic. Therefore, if we compare second quarter growth with that of first quarter growth, the chosen high frequency indicators and their findings as V-shaped economic recovery growth curve is not correlated, and hence the recovery pattern is asymmetric in nature. Next slide, please. So, to move on further, if we want to analyze the economic recovery pattern by using the high frequency indicators, as did it in our economic survey, there are certain advantages of high frequency indicators. This is the first time where not only India, other advanced economies such as United States of America, United Kingdom, Canada, and Japan has used certain high frequency indicators to predict the economic recovery pattern during the post-COVID-19 pandemic period. Let us see what are those advantages of using high frequency indicators to project the economic growth recovery pattern. The use of high frequency indicators provide stronger evidence than the traditional indicators owing to the following factors. The high frequency indicators observe the economic activity in real time. Second one, the data captured with high frequency periods, such as on the basis of hourly basis or daily or weekly and monthly basis. Traditional projections are mostly made upon the quarterly basis, but the high frequency indicators make use of the even hourly periods to understand the economic recovery pattern. And the usage of high frequency indicators are useful in crisis situations such as pandemic and the global recession periods. And also, another advantage of using high frequency indicators is that we can reduce the lag period in the data arrival, because if we want to project the recovery pattern by using the traditional data indicators, we need to wait 2 to 3 months of period as it is done on quarterly basis, which is not the case with using high frequency indicators. We can assess the economic activity and its growth on the basis of monthly, weekly, daily basis also. So these are the certain advantages of high frequency indicators on the basis upon which Economic Survey of India has projected the economic recovery as V-shaped. However, there are certain methodological issues of using high frequency indicators, which makes the V-shaped economic recovery may not test the statistical validity tools and the robust checks and balances. check for the robustness of these projections based upon the plucking model, business cycle, fundamental assumptions as a basic theoretical assumptions. So let us see what are those areas upon which we need to build upon our statistical models in order to stand and stabilize the V-shaped economic recovery pattern. First thing is that projected agriculture sector has a silver lining even during the severe pandemic crisis situation. It is a fact that the growth in the agriculture sector still remains stable, and it has contributed to the economy during the crisis situation where the other sectors, the stagnation of economic activities has affected badly to the economy. However, the agriculture sector has performed well even during this crisis situation. It is undeniable, though agriculture sector is doing well. However, the survey has not taken into account of the situation of agricultural laborers and the farmers, most importantly, small and medium farmers, whose the yield has not given the return benefits to the farmers, and also the supply chain disruptions due to the lockdown scenario in the many states has affected the contribution of agriculture sector to the economy. Even though we can say that the sector has positively contributed during the crisis situation, however, because of these factors has affected the extent of the contribution of agriculture sector has affected to the overall economic growth and its recovery pattern, which means that the supply side factors also need to be taken into account in order to remain stable economic recovery pattern. And also the high frequency indicators do not explain the inter and intra-sectoral variations. For example, power consumption or power demand no doubt has increased in the second quarter onwards. However, due to the lockdown situation, many industries has been locked down, and this power demand is not fully accounted for. Similarly, the electricity demand and the industrial consumption for the electricity for the small and medium and large scale industries, the demand for the electricity is not fully accounted by the high frequency indicators. Hence, even though there are certain advantages of using high frequency indicators, at the same time, we also need to take into account of the other factors which undermine the growth recovery pattern and its projections, mostly which is now based upon the high frequency indicators. The lacunae or the deficits of the high frequency indicators need to be taken into account if at all if we want to remain or sustain the V-shaped economic recovery pattern. And also, if we see the statistical systems and the database which we have traditionally been following, it is mostly based upon the quarterly basis. The data sets are yet to be prepared, especially for the high frequency indicators, in order to remain and sustain the economic growth recovery pattern as we projected as a V-shaped recovery. To illustrate, the index of industrial production is one of the high frequency indicators used by the Economic Survey of India to project the economic recovery is in V shape. If we see the growth pattern in three major sectors, that is mining, manufacturing industry, and the electricity. If we see the today's news also, the purchasing managerial index, that is PMI, has been contracted in the June month compared to the May 2021. So, like that, the growth projections and the V-shaped pattern is being subjected to the fluctuation in the two different economic cycles, or to put it simply, in two different quarters period. Therefore, until and unless if we don't address these methodological issues, the economic revival pattern may not remain as V-shaped. We may move it, we may not see the sustenance and the stability of the economic activities if we won't address these methodological issues. Next slide, please. So, with this, I would like to conclude my presentation by saying that even though we have robust statistical methods of projecting GDP growth on quarterly basis, but the V-shaped economic recovery pattern, which is on the basis of high frequency indicators, if at all, if we want to remain and stabilize from now onwards, there is a need for strengthening the statistical accounting procedures at the national, subnational, and district levels. Just to give an example, Government of India and the Ministry of Labor and Employment has started collecting the data of migrant workers in all the states. And this has been done at the most of the state governments has delegated this powers to the local governments to collect the data of the migrant workers, so that a national database has been in place for the better social protection of the migrant workers. So we need many such initiatives so that our statistical procedures and the robustness will remain in stable condition and for the sustainable economic growth. And the big lesson which we can take is that the COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent crisis provide an opportunity to reorient the existing methods and the methodologies for the data construction, so that we gradually transit or transform from data deficit to data driven and empirical economic policy making. With this, I stop here. I look forward for the questions and clarifications, and I thank you all for your attentive listening.
Thank you, Viresh sir. It was a very resourceful and an analytical presentation. Thank you very much. Now, the stage is open for discussion. So, delegates, if you have any questions or clarification, you can message it in the chat box, or if you raise your hands, you will be unmuted and you can directly clarify it from the resource person. So there is already a question in the chat box. It goes like this. What is the economic recovery projection and forecasting of growth recovery? Are they same? Are you getting it, sir? Shall I repeat?
No, madam.
Yeah, the
I am
participant
here.
is asking
Yes, ma'am.
economic recovery projection and forecasting of growth recovery, are they same?
Sir, I would like to say that the growth recovery and the economic recovery, since we use the GDP as an economic indicator to understand the growth pattern, both are same as far as my understanding is concerned. If the GDP growth remains stable, it also indicates that the economy is on the recovery path. This is my first clarification, sir, for your first query. And for your second question, in the beginning of my presentation, I have indicated this is an ongoing work. Though I have not spelled out the my sampling procedure, I am still working upon the sampling aspects, and also since this is the first time the government of India has come up with the economic recovery projections using high frequency indicators, I need to collect lot of data for the 16 selected high frequency indicator, which I am still working upon. So at this point of time, so I fully cannot answer your second query. Once I complete my this ongoing work, I'll be in a position to answer your second query, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. So any other clarifications? You can feel free to raise your hands.
Veena, I have posted a question
Yes, ma'am.
in the chat box.
Okay. So Suma madam has a question here. Viresh sir.
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. No, I have seen, madam.
Okay.
Thank you, madam. I have referred high frequency indicators, and among that, power demand also is one of the indicators chosen by the Economic Survey of India. So what I have explained, even though the power demand has increased during the second quarter, however, the demand for the power is not fully accounted because not all the industries were allowed to open, and therefore this demand, which has shown the increased pattern, but this demand of power from the industries is not fully accounted when we project by using the high frequency indicator.
Okay.
If we take that demand into fuller account, then the robustness of the high frequency indicator will remain stable and sustainable, madam. Otherwise, it will subjected to the fluctuations as per the policies of the government, whether to what extent we unlock the industries. Accordingly, the power demand will also affect the recovery pattern, madam.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, madam.
Anybody else would like to clarify? Sir, I have a question. Hello.
Yes, madam. Please. Yes, madam. Please
With
go ahead.
respect to this COVID pandemic, experts are speaking about the recurring waves. We are out of the first wave, and we have already experienced the second wave, and we are just coming out of it, recovering from it, and already precautions are being taken for to face the third wave. So when this pandemic is getting repeated, don't you think that this economic recovery survey and the projections and all these studies are too early? Because it will be wiped off and doesn't have meaning when the pandemic goes on recurring again and again. It doesn't give much ample time for recovery for the economy.
Yes.
So
True,
don't you
madam.
feel it is very early to to analyze all such things, recovery? Where is recovery actually? So when it is started, it's been snubbed at the early stage because of another wave
Yes,
and another lockdown. So what do you comment about this?
Yes, madam. True, madam. This is the one of the limitations of using high frequency indicators. As you rightly pointed out, the projections are too early, and that's why I said if we want to remain in this V-shaped, which the government of India and Economic Survey has predicted, if we want to remain in that particular shape of recovery pattern, there is a need to test and validity the validity of the high frequency indicators. The validity of the high frequency indicators depends upon the robust checks and balances. Right now, we have not validated these high frequency indicators. Therefore, the recovery also highly subjected to the fluctuations. And that is what Friedman's plucking model exactly illustrates. Because in order to remain the recovery mode of economy in a stable and sustainable manner, the time period to analyze the recovery pattern has to be at least 5 years of reference period. Right now, the Economic Survey of India has only analyzed the economic recovery pattern by using only 1 quarter growth period, which is not sufficient in order to say that the, the recovery pattern will remain as V-shaped, as projected by the Economic Survey. So that's what, if at all, if we want to remain V-shaped economic recovery in a more sustainable and stable manner, we need to reorient our statistical methods, and we need to validate the high frequency indicators. Then only appropriate policy measures will be taken into account to deal with the COVID-19 pandemics or any other such pandemics in the future, including the third wave or maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, very
Thank
true,
you.
sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, any other queries from the delegates?
Veena, there is a question in the chat box.
So, madam, I'm not able to see it. Yours was the last one.
No. Shall I read it out?
Yes, ma'am. It's not visible to me.
No, I think you repeated it. Your question, your research mentions the forecasting India's economic growth.
Ma'am, it has already been addressed. Sir has
Okay.
already clarified it.
Then the question by Dr. Ravi?
Yeah, it's also been addressed.
Okay.
Mangla?
Yes, ma'am.
So one more question from my side.
Yes,
You positively spoke about agricultural sectoral performance. during this pandemic, right? So it has been consistently performing compared to the other sectors in the economy. But there's a lot of, in recent days, we see a lot of inflation in this sector. The prices of the common commodities, the food products, everything has gone up. So how do you relate this? Do you call it as a consistent performance when we are facing so much of inflation with respect to agricultural products?
Yes, madam. In fact, it is not my projection. I have explained by taking an example, because Economic Survey of India mentions that agriculture sector as a silver lining, and it compares with the other sectors. However, that's what my when I have laid out what are the areas which we need to work upon, if at all, if we want to use the high frequency indicator. I have mentioned that even though the agriculture sector performance is better when compared to the other sectors, but this performance depends upon lot of factors, including the supply side factors, which includes the food inflation, which includes the food inflation aspects also. And this is the one of the limitation of the high frequency indicators. If we want to analyze economic growth projection or economic recovery pattern by using high frequency indicators, we also need to take into account not only the demand side factors, even we need to include the supply side factors also, which includes the inflation and the food inflation also, which right now we have not done that exercise.
Yeah.
Therefore, even though we can say agriculture sector performance is good compared to the other sectors, but this performance depends upon number of determinants, like because I have seen here many farmers has just thrown out their yield of tomato without any returns. So do we have really indicators which will take account of this farmers enormous work? We have not been able to account it when we project the economic growth, even within the agriculture sector.
So then, in your personal opinion, what do you feel? In your presentation, you mentioned that presently 16 high frequency indicators have been selected. So is it right? Okay, high frequency indicators have their own advantages, as you have mentioned. But is it right to go by only high frequency indicators after validating them? Or should it be a combination of high frequency indicators and also take into account some of the traditional indicators? Combine both of them for the economic survey. What do you feel? Is it better to rely only on the high frequency indicators, or it should be a combination of both?
No, as I have explained, with the help of Friedman's plucking model, if at all, if we want to take forward the use of high frequency indicator method to project our economic growth and the recovery pattern, keeping in the wake of COVID-19 pandemic, the theoretical assumptions and the empirical reality do not hold together. Right now, it is like an inversely proportional. If at all, if we would like to continue the economic projections on the basis of high frequency indicators, even after validating it, even after checking the robustness also, if you it's my personal take, we cannot fully rely upon the high frequency indicators, because our statistical system has not meant till now to use the high frequency indicators for the economic projections. Because if we see the traditional economic indicators, most of the economic indicators are taken into account on quarterly basis, not monthly basis or not weekly basis. Therefore, immediately we cannot fully rely upon the high frequency indicators and their projections. What we can do is that, since we have to project, because we need projections, we need forecasts, uh, we can combine the traditional indicators with the high frequency indicators only after checking the validity and the robustness. And then we need to give a substantial time for the high frequency indicators, whether the high frequency indicators really stand the testing time. If we can take like 10 to 20 years, we need to check that uh, validity of the time period. The temporal aspect of the high frequency indicators is very critical if we want to have a sustainable projections. Without doing that exercise, if we rely only upon the high frequency indicators, as I pointed out, the forecast may remain for 1 quarter period only. When it comes to the next quarter, it may not remain as same as it is. That's what I give an example. If we see today's newspaper, the manufacturing sector has been contracted in the month of June when compared to the month of May. So that kind of fluctuations can take place if we fully rely upon the high frequency indicators.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And we have one delegate who has raised their hand. Sundravalli madam,
Yes.
please, yeah,
Yes.
Sundravalli madam, please unmute
Yes. Good
yourself
afternoon,
and.
sir.
Yes, madam, please go ahead.
I've unmuted myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, madam.
Yes, madam.
Can you hear me?
Yes, madam.
Good afternoon, sir. Your presentation was very well organized and very informative, sir. I have just one question. See, when the second wave emerged, whatever recovery, etc., we had predicted and whatever hopes we had, all that was raised to the ground. Now, again, if the third wave emerges, again, if such a thing happens, what is the validity of the recovery and all what we speak about?
Yes, madam. True. In case, though we are the government of India and state governments are enhancing and making efforts to improve the vaccination among the individual citizens. I have explained the forecasts made by the Global Economic Prospectus, that is the report of World Bank, and also Economic Survey of India. Both reports and both projections will stand valid only the rate of vaccination and along with the other policies such as improving the healthcare facilities in the ground and improving the awareness programs, level of awareness among the individual citizens. Even now, in most of the rural areas, citizens are not willingly come forward to take the vaccination. The economic projections and the recovery. So you have rightly pointed out, madam, once the onset of second wave has been begun, what we have projected, that is the V-shaped recovery, has not fully attained because of the second wave and its devastating impact on our economic activities and including our lives also, day-to-day lives. Therefore, before the onset of third wave, if at all, if we won't prepare ourselves as we did after the first wave, because after the first wave, there was an ample amount of time for the governments to prepare the healthcare facilities at the ground, which we have not taken into account seriously. and therefore the consequence of second wave has been come across, and we have seen the devastating consequences. So if at all, if we don't learn the lessons from the first two waves, not only economic recovery, much more damage may take place for our people's lives. So economy and the people health, both are critical, and both has to be go hand in hand, and both health policies and the economic policies has to be go hand in hand, if at all, if we want to prevent the third wave and its impact on the economic activities and on our lives.
Hello. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Am
There's
I
one.
clear, madam?
Yes, sir. There's a little disturbance in your audio due to a very low bandwidth of network.
Okay, okay.
Your voice is breaking. There's one more message in the chat box, not related to the present topic, but since this is a FDP related to all subjects of humanities, a person here has messaged saying that I'm hardly familiar with the concepts of economics since I belong to the language fraternity. I still choose to be well informed than be ignorant. It would be great if people like you could give tips on how to understand the nuances of economics in layman terms. Are there any sources or channels through which we could understand the nuances of economics in a simple manner? I think you are the right person to understand, I mean, to answer this question, being a non-economic student.
Thank you, sir, for that interesting question. Um, in order to understand the economic nuances, I would just what I will do is that I will check the prices of vegetables on day-to-day basis. If the prices are high, the essential commodities mainly, including the medicines also, even the government has reduced GST on the COVID-related medical equipments. But however, suppose if I am feeling fever, if I go to medical shop and if I want to buy like a simple paracetamol tablet, uh, if the price of the medicine and if the price of the vegetables, uh, as an individual customer, if you feel the prices are high, which means that our economy is not in a stable or sustainable mode. If the food inflation and the inflation on the essential commodities are high, there is something we really missing out in our economic policies. So that's the simple indicator we can assess ourselves as citizens. Am I clear, sir?
Yeah, I think it's been clarified. So any more queries? Any more clarifications from the delegates? So thank you very much, sir. There have been a couple of, the person has messaged telling that thank you for the clarification.
Fine.
Oh, there's one more hand going up.
Yeah, sure.
It's Indu Hasini, Veena.
Yes, ma'am.
It's Indu Hasini. She's raised her hand.
Madam, you can unmute yourself and talk. Madam Hindu Hasini?
Madam, by mistake, madam.
Okay, then. Yeah, the hand appeared and it disappeared. So she says it was by mistake. Okay.
Okay.
So I think we have come to the end of this session. Now I request Dr. Shamla, the organizing secretary of this FDP program, and and the Associate Professor of Economics, to propose the vote of thanks. Over to you, Dr. Shamla.
Thank you, Veena. Sir, Nayak Raviresh sir, I highly appreciate your understanding of economic models and their application to the present situation. Your presentation has definitely enhanced our knowledge of application of economic models to analyze and study the fluctuations in economic scenario at present. That was an excellent presentation. It has definitely forced us to strike ourselves to know the model used behind all the policy measures that would be taken up in future for sure. So with that, good afternoon to the August gathering. Thanksgiving is always the best part of any program because for any event to be successful, many faculty would have contributed, and this is an opportunity to acknowledge all of them. Firstly, I would thank our resource person, a very young, dynamic, and a very hardworking. And I've seen a very few research scholars who adopt themselves and try to know each and every aspect of research. And you're one such person, sir. So the resource person, Sri Nayakara Veeresh, you accepted our invitation, and we wholeheartedly thank you. And the topic was given by you, and I tell you that you have done justice for the topic. On behalf of Humanities Forum, our college, and all the delegates, I extend my heartfelt thanks to you, sir. My sincere thanks to our beloved principal, Dr. B. Chandrasekhara, for his constant support and encouragement for any academic activity. And on behalf of Humanities Forum and all faculty members, I thank you, sir. I thank Dr. Shubha, IQAC Coordinator, and Professor Shailaja, Coordinator, Humanities Forum, for the direct and indirect supporting hand for all the academic endeavors of the college. Thank you, Madam. My sincere thanks to all the delegates who are participating very enthusiastically in all the lectures for consecutively 3 days and submitting the quiz and feedback forms daily. My sincere thanks to Dr. Suma Madam for her untiring enthusiasm and involvement in any program that the college takes up. I thank all the HODs of Humanities Department and other faculty members of the forum. I thank my HOD, Professor N.G. Shailaja, the department faculty, G.S. Veena, Dr. Mangala, and Prithvi for their involvement and support for the successful completion of today's program. I thank all my college faculty of Commerce, Management, and Science departments and non-teaching staff of our college. My thanks to the technical team, Dr. Devika, Dr. Smita Bhavikatti, Professor Danyashri, and Dr. Mangla to have strived hard for smooth functioning of the event. I thank each and everyone who have joined hands always with the department in any activity that economics department takes up. Thanks once again and have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you, Shamla, for that heartfelt vote of thanks. Thank you too for being such a nice organizing secretary and very meticulously organizing this FDP. So thank you all delegates. Hope to see you all tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning, and have a good day. Thank you one and all.
Veena, my personal congratulations to Nayakara Veeresh sir. He is brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Thank you all. Thank you, Dr. Shamla madam and Dr. Veena madam for approaching me. Hope I have done to an extent. Though I am new to the subject. Thank you, madam. Thank you all.
That's what makes it very original also, Veeresh.
Yeah, very true, ma'am.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir. In spite of so many limitations in your health conditions, you made it possible. So personally, I thank you once again.
Thank you, madam.
I request.
Thank you for your timely support.
Yes, sir.
To speedy recover, Veeresh.
Thank you, madam.
I wish you a speedy recovery.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
I request all the delegates to fill the feedback form and the quiz that is given today in time, so that would be easy for us to assess the assess your performance. Thank you so much for being with us.
Madam?
Yes, sir.
Madam, in case like after if any delegates are participant, if anybody having any clarifications, please let me know, madam.
Sure,
sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, okay, madam. Thank you, madam.
So we'll be ending the Zoom meeting now.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, one and all.
Thank you all.
Devka madam, you can end the meeting.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.